started. Just a couple of reminders before I turn it over to Mary from Ingalls Hospital. Like I said, thanks everyone for coming. If you are attending today, please be sure after the workshop that you let your child's teacher know that you attended so that you will get credit for this workshop. I see some of you are putting it in the chat, but still, even if you put it in the chat, please make sure that you let your child know that you attended. Also, last thing, if everybody could make sure that they mute their audio right now so that we don't have all of the background noise while we have Mary presenting. And again, if you have a question, just unmute yourself if you have a question, but if you can for the length of the workshop, please keep yourself muted. Otherwise, it's very hard to hear. So I'm going to turn it over to Mary to get started once I can figure out how to make you the host.
I did just unmute myself, so.
Okay.
All right.
You are now the host.
Okay, I'm the host now. Yes, yes. All right, thank you so much, Peggy.
You're welcome.
All right. Okay. Good morning, everyone. And thank you so much for joining us virtually today. I feel that we are all experts at virtual presentations and gatherings by now, having lived in, this COVID era for a year and a half now, or almost 2 years. So I just want to introduce myself first. My name is Mary Condon. I am a registered dietitian. I am also a certified diabetes care and education specialist. I currently work at Ingalls Hospital, but I work in an outpatient clinic. So I'm not at the hospital. I meet with patients ranging from adults to pediatrics. I meet with them one-on-one and we discuss any concerns they have for, nutritional concerns, wellness concerns, weight management concerns. I am also, and I also work at a Head Start in Oswego. Head Start is a daycare and school for infants as young as 6 weeks of age and as old as 5 years old. So I work with the parents on any nutritional concerns and make sure that the menu that the kids are, the menu for the kids is nutritionally adequate. So I've been a dietitian for a long time now, about 13 years. So hopefully I can address any concerns that you have. I am going to share my screen. If you need me to slow down, speak up, go back to a slide, just please let me know. Okay. All right. All right, so I'm going to start the slideshow. Okay, all right. So today we are going to discuss nutrition specifically for kids in the age group of 3 to 5 years old. Okay. All right. So healthy lifestyles for children. All right. So at this age, optimal nutrition is important for growth. Right now, disease prevention and well-being. This sets the stage for lifelong eating behaviors. So the way that we are talking about food, presenting food, what we're providing for our foods right now, it's setting up those lifelong eating behaviors at this critical age, 3 to 5 years old, for for the rest of their lives. Children should begin healthy eating practices with the help of their caregivers early on in life. We are their role models, so we should really practice what we preach. But the optimal nutrition right now for these children is for growth, disease prevention, and well-being. All right, so practical tips to feeding your child. Okay, so number one, let your child choose from the foods the adult has prepared. Toddlers want to make their own decisions. Okay, at mealtime, Let your child choose what foods he or she wants to eat from what you have prepared. So you as the caregiver, as the adult, will prepare the foods, present the foods, give the foods to your children, but your child should choose from the foods the adult has prepared. So if we have a lunch or a dinner plate with a vegetable, a starch, and a protein, and all they eat is the starch, I would say, don't even comment on it. Just as long as you have given that child the vegetable and the protein, that you're doing your job. You should let the child choose from the foods that you have given him or her and you have prepared. The rule is parents decide what foods are served to the kids. Kids decide whether to eat it and how much. I know this is hard. I have 3 kids. I have a 6-year-old and a 3-year-old and a baby. She's 1. My 6-year-old eats everything. My 3-year-old is extremely picky, and I have to bite my tongue on saying, eat a little more, eat a little more. But the more we do that, the more resistant the child will be to eat more of the foods that you're encouraging the child to eat. So remember, our job is to provide the healthy food for the child. The child decides whether to eat it and how much. Okay, so resist the urge to make 2 different meals. I know this is hard. I am living it right now. Please don't make 1 meal for the adults and 1 meal for the children. This will severely limit your child's desire and ability to try new foods. Okay. So, try not to put more emphasis on a particular food. Like I was saying, like, look at this delicious broccoli I gave you. You should try it. Simply set the plate down with all the foods, and then let the child decide what he or she will eat. Okay. All right. Did someone have a question? Oh, I heard. Okay. All right. So, all right, so if you provide a variety of healthy foods every day, you can feel good about the decisions your child makes. So even though your child is not eating as much or of the foods that you wish he or she was eating, you're doing your part. Children do eat smaller portions than adults, so keep that in mind. Allow your child to decide how much to eat. The best way to determine if your child is eating enough is through the growth charts. When you take your children to the pediatrician, they will plot them on the growth charts. Even if they are in the 5th percentile, the 10th percentile, if they are following that curve, they're growing just fine. So the best way to determine it is if they're growing, not necessarily with how much we think they're eating. All right, so child portions. Child portions are not the same as adult portions. Are you giving them too much? If we are giving the child too much food, they usually play with it or they just stop eating. I know my 1-year-old will start throwing the food on the floor. As soon as she's done eating, she'll just throw it on the floor. I'm like, all right, I gave her too much. She's done. We need to remember not to encourage this clean plate club that maybe some of us grew up with. Our parents may have said you have to eat everything on the plate. We do not want to do that. No clean plate club. It encourages overeating for life. Remember, right now at this critical age, 3 to 5-year-olds, we are setting the stage for their lifelong eating habits. And it could also cause some possible food aversions as well. Growth charts. Is your child following the growth charts? Check with your doctor and dietitian. We track length, we track weight, we track head circumference. Charts from birth until adulthood. They go up until, when they're a newborn until they're 18, and there are separate for genders, for girls and for boys. If your child starts to fall off the growth chart, if at once they were, in the 50th percentile or the 75th percentile, and then they drop to the 25th or the 10th, then that's an area of concern. But if they have always been in the 10th percentile, kind of small, or maybe a little bigger in the 90th percentile, and they continue to follow that, there's really no reason for concern. Rapid growth there's rapid growth until 2, and then it slows down. Okay, but this is 3, so we will. All right, so I just wanted to set the stage a little bit about eating habits. And then I wanted to talk about what kind of foods we should be giving our kids, you know, what kind of snacks, what kind of meals. So every 5 years, we have new dietary guidelines for Americans. And last year in 2020, we had the most recent guidelines. So according to the 2020-2025 dietary guidelines for Americans, the nutrients of concern for ages 2 to 8, so we're falling in that 3 to 5 age group that we're discussing today, are the following, okay? Under consumed nutrients for children ages 2 to 8 are calcium, vitamin D, fiber, and potassium. So most of our snack and meal recommendations that dietitians make, that doctors make, that pediatrician makes, they're going to be high in these nutrients to help fill those nutrient gaps. So foods that the caregivers provide should be high in these nutrients. And today I'm going to give you some ideas for snacks and meals that are high in these nutrients, okay? Calcium is very important for growth and well-being. Our kids are, you know, the kids in this age group are growing rapidly. Calcium is found in dairy products such as milk, yogurt, and cheese. It's also found in some fish, so salmon. Vitamin D. Vitamin D is tricky because it's not found in a lot of foods. Of course, it's fortified in our dairy products. You know, it's found in milk, and it's also fortified in some other products like juices. It's also found in salmon. Fiber. Fiber is found in our fruits, in our vegetables, in our whole grain products like whole wheat bread, brown rice, whole grain crackers, beans. That's why we put a lot of emphasis on milk, on low-fat cheese, on fruits, on vegetables, on beans. That's why you hear dietitians constantly recommending these, because these nutrients are usually nutrients of concern for this age group. And then potassium. Potassium is found in dairy products and fruits and vegetables. Okay. All right. Okay. So now what foods should I prepare and offer? So I gave you all of this kind of background information. So now what? What do I do with it? Let's explore the 5 different food groups so we can recommend those nutrients of concern to our children. There are 5 different food groups. I'm sure you have all seen this plate before. There's dairy, okay, that's your milk, yogurt. Grains are our starches. Those are things like bread, rice, cereal, pasta, crackers and snacks, okay. Protein foods are like our meat, our poultry, so chicken and turkey, eggs, fish, pork. Then our vegetables and fruits are pretty self-explanatory. So there's 5 different food groups. A healthy diet should include all 5. We should never eliminate any one food group in order to meet all of those nutrients that we need. All right, so grains, okay? So I'm going to be talking about this, the grain group first, okay? So grain groups, what does one serving look like? Bread, it's 3/4 of a slice to 1 slice. Dry cereals, half a cup of cereal is considered 1 serving. Remember, kids eat less than adults. Cooked cereals, noodles, 1/3 of a cup is 1 serving. You know, that's a little bit, like 1/4 of a palm. Crackers, 4 to 6 crackers is 1 serving. Okay. So when we give our children, when we prepare meals for our families, when we prepare snacks for our families, we want to make sure that we are choosing whole grains in order to fill the nutrient gap, the fiber nutrient gap, and the potassium nutrient gap. We want to choose whole wheat bread, okay, over white bread. So if we're making our child a sandwich for lunch or even for dinner, making it on whole wheat bread is going to be filling, it's going to fill our fiber requirements. It's going to help meet our potassium requirements. Cereals are a great breakfast for our children. Try to choose oatmeal. Try to choose whole grain cereals like Total, Raisin Bran, Bran Flakes over our white refined cereals, over like Rice Krispies or maybe a more sugary cereal. So we can meet our fiber needs and potassium needs. Okay? When we're choosing noodles and rice, find the whole wheat over the white. They have whole wheat spaghetti. They have brown rice. It helps meet our fiber requirements. Crackers, wheat thins, Triscuits. This is a great snack. And I have a whole list of snacks that I'm going to give you all to give you some ideas for your kids. So when we're preparing meals for our children, we want to choose whole grains over white refined starches whenever possible. Fruit. Children should be eating 2 to 4 fruit servings a day. And what does one serving look like? It's half of a small piece of fresh fruit. It's not a lot. Canned fruit, 1/4 cup to half a cup. We can meet that pretty easily if we give our children, maybe half a cup of fruit for breakfast, half a cup for a snack. So we can meet that pretty quickly. Fruit juice. Juice, you can start giving 100% juice to children over the age of 2, according to the Dietary Guidelines for Americans, and half a cup of 100% fruit juice equals 1 serving of fruit. The intake of fruit juice should be limited to 4 to 6 ounces, however, for children 2 to 6 years old. Under 2 years old, juice is not recommended. Vegetables. Vegetables are so important to help meet our fiber requirements, to help meet our children's potassium requirements, and to help set up those healthy eating habits now, because right now they are learning how to eat, and it will be carried out when they're an adult. And the more fruits, the more vegetables we eat, the less chronic diseases like diabetes or heart disease we see. All vegetables are included, like cucumbers, bell peppers, carrots, broccoli, cauliflower. Half a cup equals 1 serving. Milk. All right. Kids should be having about 4 servings of milk per day, and 1 serving is half a cup. So they can have 1 cup of milk for breakfast, 1 cup at dinner, and that fulfills this requirement. Yogurt and cottage cheese count towards these servings. American cheese also counts. Meat group. So I call it the meat group, but it's protein, okay? Eggs and beans and peanut butter. These are, if you're following more of a vegetarian style meal plan, this counts in this group. So I could actually even change this to protein. So kids need 2 servings per day. 1 egg is considered 1 serving. 3 to 5 tablespoons or 1 to 2 ounces equals 1 serving. It's not a lot. So if you think that your child, if you're concerned that your child is not eating a lot, remember these portion sizes. They're a lot smaller than we as adults, than our portion sizes as adults. Beans and peas, great source of protein, great source of fiber, great source of potassium right here. If your family, if beans are a staple in your family's diet, that is so nutritious for your children. 2 to 4 tablespoons is 1 serving. Peanut butter. What kids don't like peanut butter? I know there might be some allergies, but if there's no allergies in your family, 2 tablespoons is 1 serving. That also counts as part of this protein group. So you can feel, you could rest, you could feel, you know, confident that you're meeting your child's protein needs. If you were serving a variety of protein foods, and yeah, it's not that much. The portion size is not that much. Fats, you know, our children should not be on a fat-free diet, neither should any adult. We only need a little bit. 1 teaspoon of any fat, oil, or margarine is considered a serving, and children need about 3 servings per day. All right, so snacks. Snacks are a very important part of your child's diet. Children need to eat often. Even if the portion sizes are small, they need to eat often because they have smaller stomachs and they have high energy needs. So snacks can be a very important part and should be an important part of the child's diet. Aim for 2 to 3 healthy snacks, incorporating 1 to 2 food groups. So that plate that I showed you had 5 food groups. One easy way to kind of prepare a snack is, okay, I want to make 1 to 2 food groups. So for example, if I'm going to do cheese and crackers, crackers is a grain group, cheese is a protein group. That's 2 food groups. Be careful with grazing, however. I always tell everybody, snack is, there's a beginning and an end, right? It's not snacking, it's a snack. Be careful with grazing, snacking all day. If our children are snacking all day, they won't be hungry at their meal times, okay? And then I do have some a handout on snack ideas for you and your child that we'll go over. All right, breakfast. Breakfast is the most important part of the day. Your child's day starts in the morning, most likely. Your child needs a lot of energy to learn, to play, and they need a good breakfast. So make sure your child is starting off the day right with breakfast. A kind of an easy way to determine if we're having a balanced meal is to aim for 3 food groups in the morning. So when you saw that plate with 5 food groups, try to aim for like 3 food groups in the morning. So for example, we could do oatmeal, berries, and an egg, you know? So oatmeal is starch, berries is fruit, egg is protein. We want to eat within 1 hour of waking up. It helps promote brain cell function. You know, our children are going to be learning. They're going to be most likely going to school, either preschool or kindergarten at 3 to 5 years old. So important that they eat within an hour of waking up. And anything works. Here are some ideas. If your child doesn't like breakfast food, doesn't have to be breakfast food. It could be a peanut butter and jelly sandwich with milk. Maybe grab some fruit in a cereal bar on the go. They have so many kids, you know, cereal bars marketed towards kids that are going to be high in fiber. They're going to have calcium. They're going to have potassium. Those foods that are marketed towards kids are going to be high in those 4 nutrients of concern I talked about in the beginning of the session, you know, the calcium, vitamin D, fiber, and potassium. Hey, cheese and crackers could be a breakfast. Why not, right? And cereal. If we're choosing cereal, we want to choose a whole grain cereal. We want to choose, you know, like a Raisin Bran or a Cheerios. If you want to look at the food, at least 4 grams of fiber. All right. All right. So some snack ideas. All right. So here are some snack ideas to help fill those nutrients of concern. Reduced fat or non-fat vanilla yogurt topped with fresh berries. Okay. So we have calcium and vitamin D in our yogurt, and we have fiber and potassium with our berries. Again, we're addressing those nutrients of concern. okay? And snacks should be in between meals, okay? Snacks should be in between meals, and these are some, you know, some good ideas to offer your child. It could be a smoothie. Smoothies are often well tolerated with children. Smoothie made with Greek yogurt, 100% juice, banana, and strawberries. Okay. Celery sticks topped with a nut butter. You know, if your child has a peanut allergy, maybe you can do an almond butter or a sunflower seed butter. That's a great option. A small baked potato topped with shredded reduced fat cheese. So if your child loves potatoes, let's offer them potatoes, maybe in a slightly different way. Maybe not French fries. Maybe we're going to boil some potatoes or bake a potato and we put some cheese on it. Why not? Let's make a fun, healthier pizza for our child as a snack. It could be a mini pizza on a whole wheat English muffin with some tomato sauce and part skim mozzarella cheese. Whole grain crackers topped with, I put mashed avocado here, but you could do any kind of nut butter, a low-fat cheese. You could do hummus. Hummus is great because it's made with chickpeas and has fiber and potassium as well. Whole wheat pita triangles dipped in hummus. Okay, so if you are struggling to find some snacks for your child, maybe make a list this week and go to the grocery store and try maybe 1 or 2 new things for your child. It's so great to offer new foods to our children because it's setting up those lifelong habits, and then they're more willing to try things in the future, try new foods. All right, eating breakfast. What if my child is not hungry? Okay, if your child states he or she is not hungry in the morning, their body's used to it. They're probably not. If you offer something small is better than nothing at all. Within the next 2 weeks, that child will start to feel hunger. So just continue to encourage the child. Well, let's just have a little bite. You know, let's just have, you can pick your favorite fruit or a favorite smoothie bar. Eventually that hunger will start. Metabolism really starts with the first meal. Help the child feel hunger, wanting to eat at meal times. Let's all eat breakfast together if we can, you know, etc. What to do at meal times. This is so important. Involve your children in preparation. You know, ask your child to come to the grocery store with you. Have your child pick out a new fruit, a new vegetable. It should be fun. I did this with my 6-year-old this past week. I had him pick out any new fruit or vegetable, and he picked out a coconut, and it was so fun to learn how to cut or crack open a coconut as a family. So setting the table, it could be as easy as, hey, can you please put the cups on the table or the plates on the table, helping with the side dishes, cutting vegetables, maybe get a child-safe knife and let them maybe just, you know, chop up some vegetables. They can measure foods. Involving your children in preparing the meal often helps increase their intake at that particular meal. So if your child is not eating a lot at lunch or dinner, if they help prepare the lunch or dinner, research has shown that they'll likely eat more if they helped prepare. Food fights. The more fighting, the more resistance. The more we say, you take one, you know, keep eating, keep eating, keep eating. You didn't eat enough. Sit down at the table. It's just going to fuel the fire. So take focus out of the food when we are at the dinner table. Maybe have the conversation away from the food. Set the food down and maybe talk about the day. You know, what was one fun activity you played at school today? Or what was your favorite part of the day? Try to take the conversation away from the food if we're really struggling to get our child to eat, because the more fighting, the more resistance. It takes 8 to 15 times to introduce a food before accepted or tried. So please remember that. 8 to 15 times to introduce a food before it's accepted. So if your child will not eat a fruit or vegetable, remember, it takes up to 15 times for the child to even try it, okay? So continue to offer that food. You know, this, we often reward our children with food like candy for doing a good deed, but we want to try to avoid that because again, it sets up, you know, not the best habits, not the best behavior with food, relationship with food. No food punishments. You should never tell a child you're going to go to bed without dinner if you don't XYZ. Again, very, very bad. It sets up a poor relationship with food for the future of your child. The more high fat and high calorie snacks are withheld, the more they will be overeaten and desired. Again, why we don't do food punishments. We shouldn't say, eat all of your dinner and then you'll get dessert, or you're not getting any dessert because you didn't eat your dinner. It's setting up a poor relationship with food. Feeding infants and toddlers, a study found that some parents give kids soda and fries as early as 7 months. It drives sweet and salty addictions for life. So we should be giving our child food, fruits, vegetables, you know, at the appropriate time, and dessert at the appropriate time, but not withholding from them. All right, so the best time to start, preschool. Food and nutrition related attitudes develop during the preschool years. Right now, your children's age, 3 to 5 years old. Ideas to get started. Yes, play with food. Use fruits to make faces on pancakes, or veggies to make faces on pizza, ants on a log. One of my, like a fun thing I do over Halloween, I put half of a banana and I put raisins on the eyes and it looks like a ghost. Or you can do a little orange, a little cutie with a little celery stick coming out of it. It's a pumpkin. You know, if you make maybe Mickey Mouse pancakes, they're most likely to, you know, have fun with it and eat it. Every time your child tastes a new food, you can put a sticker on a chart. You can do a tasting chart. A certain amount of stickers is an activity reward, not a food reward. Just some ideas to get your child to try new foods. If your child does not like vegetables, okay, what should you do? Veggies do not have to be plain. If you're serving vegetables as a snack or for the meal, top it with some cheese. Do a little bit of light butter or some Parmesan cheese. That can encourage your child to try it. Incorporate into meals. Maybe we put some spinach in our mac and cheese, or broccoli and pasta, or veggies on pizza. Making a pizza with vegetables is such a great way to incorporate more vegetables in a child's diet and encourage them to try something new. If your child is lactose intolerant, they would not be able to tolerate milk. However, they often are able to tolerate yogurt or cheese. Milk has the most lactose. Lactose is a sugar found in milk, and cheese has the least, with which Parmesan cheese has very little lactose. So if your children can't tolerate milk, okay, let's try yogurt or cheese. Don't try to leave out a food group. We could try soy milk or soy cheese with calcium added, and green leafy vegetables for calcium if your child does not like milk. It's often not common. It's often, but if your child is lactose intolerant, there are some other ways to incorporate more calcium and vitamin D into our child's diet. So conclusion, is your child following the growth chart? Okay. If your answer is yes, you shouldn't really be concerned about the amount that they're eating. If they're not, then that's a time to maybe speak with your pediatrician, make an appointment with a dietitian. Is your child getting child-sized portions at meal times? You know, you may think that your child's not eating enough because you're providing them adult-sized portions. Does your child eat breakfast daily? If not, it's a good habit to start. It's really important for your child to eat breakfast every single day. They have a long day ahead of them. They have a lot of energy. They need to fuel themselves properly. Is everyone in the family being a good role model? We as adults, as the caregivers, are our children's role models. They are watching. Even if we don't think they're watching, they are. If they see us eating, bread and vegetables and fruit and meat and chicken, they are more likely to eat all of those food groups as well. If they see us drinking pop, soda, all these sugary beverages and eating a lot of desserts and cakes, and then they'll do that too. So we are the role model. Is your child eating plenty of dairy and vegetables? Try to incorporate it into snacks, into meal times. Have your child help prepare the snack. Have your child help prepare the meal. Is your child limiting added sugars and sweets? By no means say you can't have dessert if you don't finish your dinner, but also don't offer, all these sugary and sweet foods multiple times throughout the day. Okay. I do have some handouts that I will email to Peggy. I have a list of healthy snack ideas for you and your child. I have a pantry list for healthy eating with children. So this list is, intended to help you grocery shop. So help stock up your pantry with the items needed to prepare healthy snacks, to prepare healthy meals. Some ideas for school lunches and tips to healthy eating. And I could actually share some of those with you right now if we have some time. Here's the pantry list. One minute. Here's some healthy snack ideas. Bumps on a log, so celery, peanut butter, raisins, how to make them, and what kind of nutrition they provide. An idea for a fruit smoothie, nachos, maybe baked corn tortilla chips, or like a tortilla, bake it, and then cheese and salsa. Snack kebabs are so fun. Maybe just get, the long snack kebab sticks and cut up different fruit, vegetables, cheese. It's always fun. And just some other snack ideas here. Okay, so I'll give you all of these handouts, snack ideas, some lunch ideas. I'll forward them to Peggy, and then Peggy, you could distribute them to whoever wishes.
I could definitely get those sent out.
So any questions? Do we have time for questions, Peggy?
Yeah, you still have a few minutes for questions if anybody has any.
Yeah, I have a question.
Yes.
Yeah, where the peanuts and almonds and these nuts fall in the group food?
This one.
So the question was, where do peanuts, almonds, in which food group do they fall into?
Yeah.
In which food group do they fall into? So they do for 1 ounce. So 1 ounce is like a quarter of a cup or 2 tablespoons. They have about the same amount of protein as like meat or chicken. So that's why they fall into the protein group. They do have more fat than, a typical serving of like chicken or fish. But for your child's purposes, for you, it's part of the protein. So like a peanut butter sandwich, you can feel confident that you're giving your child, their protein with that peanut butter and jelly sandwich.
Okay, how about honey, if you don't mind me asking?
That's a great question. Okay, so since this presentation is for children 3 to 5 years old, honey is you can give your child honey in moderation. Under 2, honey is not recommended for children, so just keep that in mind. But honey is a sweetener. It's a natural sweetener, but we still want to make sure that we're not providing an excess amount of honey, because it acts very similar in our bodies the way that sugar does, like white sugar. So if you are sweetening maybe some oatmeal with honey, a teaspoon of honey, 1 to 2 teaspoons. Again, we do have to be mindful of portion size, but honey is considered an added sugar, although it's natural.
Thank you.
You can absolutely have, so one of the questions in the chat box is, can children 3 to 5 years old have 1 egg per day? Absolutely. Eggs are such a great source of not only protein, but also vitamin A, vitamin D. The yolk has all those good vitamins for the child. And there's, I think there's still some misconception on whether eggs are healthy or not. They are great. They are very healthy for children, and they do not necessarily increase cholesterol. The eggs from the yolk in the egg does not increase cholesterol. So they can absolutely have an egg to 2 a day. It is challenging. You know, I have a 3-year-old that is not the greatest eater, but I just, you know, continue to offer these healthy foods and snacks, and, you know, we're doing our part.
I have to say, I liked your idea about, because I have a 4-year-old that is pretty unwilling to try a lot of things, and the whole tasting chart where they're kind of being rewarded for just being willing to take a taste, because that's the issue. If he would try it, he would like it. It's just that
Yes.
he's unwilling to try.
Mhm. All right. All right, well, you know, I can email the presentation and all the handouts to Peggy so you can share with whoever is interested.
Would be great. Oh wait, there is one more question in the question box.
Okay, so yes, so my daughter, the question is, my daughter drinks too much milk, so how can we dissuade her from it? Okay, so drinking too much milk, there is such a thing as drinking too much milk. The reason is that the child will fill up on the milk, and there's no iron in milk, and children need iron to grow, so they can become, you know, deficient in iron. The amount of milk that a child should drink maximum is like 16 to 24 ounces a day. So 2 to 3 cups per day. All right. So I would say provide a smaller cup, maybe 4 ounces at breakfast. If she or he wants to drink milk with a meal, provide a smaller amount, you know, 4 ounces at breakfast, 4 ounces at lunch, 4 ounces at dinner. And then you're not doing excessive because the max should be about 16 to 24 ounces for the whole day. So you could encourage her to, you know, to drink water, or maybe even 100% juice if she's over the 2 years of age. But there is such a thing as too much milk, because the child can fill up on it and then not eat the rest of the foods. You're welcome. I'm glad I was able to help you all with some ideas.
This was really great.
Great question. So what is better, 2% or whole milk? Okay, so skim milk, 2% milk, whole milk, 1% milk. If you look at the food label, they all have the same amount of protein. They all have the same amount of calcium and vitamin D. There's a big misconception that skim milk or 2% milk is just water. It's not. The biggest difference is the fat content. After age 2, the recommendation is either skim milk or 1% milk. Okay. Whole milk is generally recommended for 1-year-olds to 2-year-olds. And then once they turn 2, it's recommended low fat dairy, 1% or 2%, or 1% or skim. I'm sorry. Whole milk tends to be very high in what we call saturated fat, and saturated fats can increase your risk for high cholesterol and heart disease later on in life. So to answer your question, I would encourage the 2% over the whole milk, okay? And eventually with time, maybe 1% is better for the whole family as well. But they all have the same amount of calcium, vitamin D, and protein. Another question, should we always choose organic for fruits and vegetables? Absolutely not, no. I'm so glad someone asked this question. Organic fruit, organic vegetable tends to be very, it's more expensive. And whether you can afford it or not, you know, it's fine, but you do not have to choose organic over regular foods. It's just a way that they are grown. Fruits and vegetables, whether they're organic or not, are just as nutritious, have the same amount of vitamins, minerals, and fiber. Eggs, is it better to serve it boiled or otherwise? Any way you want, really. You can scramble them, you can boil them and chop them up into a salad, however your child will eat them. You know, they may not like scrambled eggs, but they might like them boiled or egg salad. Any way is fine. Okay, great question. How about almond milk, oat milk over regular milk? Okay, so almond milk, oat milk, coconut milk over cow's milk. All right, so almond milk has actually more calcium and vitamin D than cow's milk, than regular milk, but it doesn't have as much protein, okay? Now, our children can get protein in a variety of other foods. So if your child is lactose intolerant and can't tolerate cow's milk, the regular milk, then almond milk and oat milk is a great option. It tends not to have as much protein as cow's milk, but it actually has more calcium. So that could be an option if your child likes it. Okay. Almond milk is also a good idea for like smoothies too. It makes the smoothie creamier. I kind of like using almond milk for smoothies with my kids. Okay.
Okay, are there any other questions?
No.
Okay, if not, Mary, thank you so much. This was so good, so practical, so many really good tips. So I hope all of you parents, I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you for coming. Again, please don't forget to let your child's parent know that you did attend the nutrition workshop today from 9:30 to 10:30. If you talk to any of the other parents that missed it, weren't able to come, it will be posted on our YouTube channel so they can catch it there. But thank you all for coming today, and have a great rest of your week.
Thank you so much, everyone.
Mary, thank you so much.
Bye now. Have a great
Take
day.
care. Bye-bye.